Hey everyone, this is Raptor's blog, and I'm actually doing a special video today. And it's a video that's like a tribute to the Nicktoons. I just now realized that this year marks the 25th year that the Nicktoons have been around on Nickelodeon. I was wondering to myself early on, why was there so much news about all these reboots happening? About a lot of talk about the original three Nicktoons. About there's a possibility about Nicktoons crossover happening. Sometime that was mentioned early on this year. And it was then I realized, well, this is the Nicktoons 25th anniversary. This is the 25th year they've been on Nickelodeon. And I can't believe I didn't talk about this way back in August when I was doing Nicktoons month. It just kind of slipped my mind when I thought about why was there so many news about reboots being done with a lot of Nicktoons, and while there was a lot of talk about a lot of the older Nicktoons lately, especially Doug, Rugrats, and Ren and Stimpy, which were the three original Nicktoons. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what the Nicktoons franchise meant to me. I'm not just going to talk about just the original three that came out, like Doug, Ren and Stimpy, Rugrats, but I'll also talk about the Nicktoons franchise as a whole, and I'll probably mention a few Nicktoons that made an impact to me when I was watching it during the 90s. So, I'll mention some Nicktoons here or there, but I'm not going to mention all the Nicktoons that made an impact because I'll be here all day talking about all that. So, here we go. What did the Nicktoons franchise mean to me? When I was little, I was growing up with a lot of cartoons when I was little, and the Nicktoons franchise was something that was really different way back in the 90s. The first three shows, Doug, Rugrats, and Ren and Stimpy, were very different from what you normally see. Like in the case of Ren and Stimpy, it was like the edgiest cartoon we saw at the time, and they brought because of Ren and Stimpy's success, they brought like a more edgier humor to a lot of cartoons that were never seen before since The Simpsons. And, we have to thank Ren and Stimpy for bringing more edgier cartoons into the market than before. And then with Doug, the way it had this simplistic storytelling was like very unique at the time. You never would have thought that a show that has such a simplistic storytelling would be so successful and eventually, transferred to Disney eventually, but it still became just as popular as it was on Nickelodeon. But you never would have thought that such a simplistic Nicktoon such as Doug would get so much praise, and I guess that's why Doug is such a memorable Nicktoon, because it's just a regular storytelling that details the simple lives of Doug and Skeeter and everybody else in the team, and it manages to bring out compelling stories anyway through that type of simplistic storytelling, and made the characters really memorable. And then probably the biggest Nicktoon that had the most impact of the three was Rugrats for me. Rugrats was like the most popular Nicktoon in the 90s, and this was the Nicktoon I watched the most during the 90s, or at least of the original three. And it had such a huge impact on me because we used to watch Rugrats a lot when we were little, especially my little sister was like a huge Rugrats fan, and we used to watch it a lot. And I love all the characters. The fact that the storyline or the premise of the series was basically babies talking to the audience was like really unique at the time, because I think Rugrats was like one of the first shows that used that premise about having talking babies like talk to the audience, and that was very unique in the time. And I just love that premise, and I love how the show was able to tackle that premise and make it so unique on its own. So I think that's how the three original Nicktoons like really brought so much creativity to the cartoon community, like bringing either edgy or humor from Ren and Stimpy, or bringing more creativity from Rugrats, or bringing more simple storytelling or just good storytelling from Doug. And I think they had such a big impact by offering something different from the cartoon community has never seen before, and that's why I think about Nicktoons as a whole. Now, some of the later Nicktoons like Rocko's Modern Life and The Angry Beavers and Hey Arnold, another few Nicktoons that really impacted my viewing for Nicktoons for cartoons as a whole. Rocko's Modern Life was like one of those adult cartoon it's sort of like it's supposed to be a cartoon geared towards kids in a way, but the humor is very adult, and it was very clever in getting a lot of crude humor through the children's eyes. And that's why I love Rocko's Modern Life so much, because of how much adult humor was able to get through at the time. And it also bring, like, Ren and Stimpy also brought a lot of edgy humor to children's entertainment and as a whole. And with Hey Arnold, it's the same thing as Doug, except they bring more dramatic storytelling, and that was also something different with the cartoons at the time, was that you don't see a lot of cartoons like have a lot of dramatic storytelling like Hey Arnold had it. And I love how Hey Arnold was able to bring so much dramatic storytelling with the Nicktoons. And then with the Angry Beavers, it's a very unique and creative Nicktoon that brought a lot of like weird humor to the franchise. It was something that I'd never seen before, and I just love the sibling relationship between Norbert and Dagon. That was something also different, was that we rarely see cartoons that have portray siblings and the relationship with each other, and the Angry Beavers managed to do that at the time it came out. So those are just some examples of some Nicktoons that really affected me. I do like some of the current Nicktoons, like the Loud House and Avatar: The Last Airbender. But so far, what are my thoughts about the Nicktoons as a franchise? I think they really brought so much creativity and uniqueness to the cartoon universe, because of how edgy they could get, of how weird they could get. But it was something completely different when they first came out in 1991. And since then, they became pretty popular on Nickelodeon. There's been a lot more Nicktoons being made, a lot more being unique than the other. Again, you get current shows now like The Loud House and Avatar: The Last Airbender that are different in their way, and also Danny Phantom. They're also all different in their own way, but we're able to bring something to the channel, or something creative to the channel that has never been seen in children's entertainment itself. So that's what I think about the Nicktoons franchise as a whole. I think they brought something very unique to the cartoon universe. Excuse me. And showed us that, cartoons can be anything you want. It could be weird, it could be adult, it could be unique, it could be anything you want it to be. And that's how I felt about the Nicktoons franchise. So what are your thoughts below? Are you happy about the Nicktoons celebrating their 25th anniversary? And how did the Nicktoons franchise affect you as a whole? And what Nicktoons did you grow up with when you were a kid? Well, please feel free to comment below, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter so we keep you updated any new videos we post up, and also like our Facebook page. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is Rabbit's blog and Animation Bliss, and I'll see you later, and happy 25th anniversary, Nicktoons.